Hey guys, hey guys. Welcome to another episode of Hello World with your girl Joy from Be the Difference Clothing. I hope that everybody's doing fine. I hope you're doing well. I hope that your day is treating you divine and that maybe whatever happened, good or bad, well, especially bad, you leave it behind because right now is the time that you have to enjoy life. Today is a very, very, very special day for two reasons. Two reasons. The first reason is because of my guest. One, I have to say, Stephanie is amazing. I was actually a guest on her show, and she's very knowledgeable, very, very knowledgeable, and I know you're going to love her. The second reason why is today is the blue moon everybody's talking about. So you got to, if you don't know what the blue moon is all about, then I would say research it after tonight. And actually, not after tonight, but after this episode, so that you can see what it is. Let me tell you how my day went. So I woke up this morning, I went to work was okay. Um, yeah, nothing here or there, nothing bad, nothing good. Just thankful that I was able to make it through and that I'm here. Um, what else happened? Also, things are moving. Things are moving in an upward progression. This year is all about the year of catapult. I I know I'm going to insinuate that we all catapult next year as well. But in the meantime, please like, subscribe, and share this video, this channel. If we bring you any type of inspiration, whether it be through gardening, whether it be through quotes, whether it be through lives, previous lives, cooking, whatever the case may be, may this channel always bring something inspirational to your life and bring light into the darkness or the darkest parts of your life. So, hey, Emmanuel, how you doing? Welcome to Hello World. Thank you for coming through. Christopher W., always a pleasure. Thank you for becoming a member. We have a member. We have a member. And it's Christopher W. Thank you. So, without further ado, as I told you, my guest, Stephanie, she is amazing. I only met her one time. We only spoke one time. But in that one time, it's like a lifetime. And I grew after that conversation. I felt more WHOLE after our interview. So hopefully you'll feel the same vibes from her. She's going to be talking to us about her new book. So please, 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 please definitely support what she's doing, her efforts. If you have questions for Stephanie, please put a question mark before and after so that we can get to it and ask her. So please let us give a warm welcome to my guest. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Welcome to Hello World. Hi.
Thank you for having me. And thanks to everyone who's listening to this now and who will listen to it later.
Yes. How was your day?
My day was fantastic. So, a little cooler than normal, but I've enjoyed that because I have learned that no matter what's happening outside, it's always filled with something good. Just look for the good in it and you will find it. And I'm glad to be here.
I know that's right. So let's start off by asking, what made you want to become an author?
So it's actually a family joke about me in writing because the new book, Self-Esteem Your Superpower, Ways Parents Can Improve Children's Self-Esteem, is the fifth book. And with each book, I vowed not to write another book. Okay. So I was, as everyone has been, you're listening to things on the news and various television programs and on all the social media about children being bullied and children not believing that they are actually perfect just the way they are. And that's generally because as parents, we've gotten a lot more busy than we were before. So everyone's in an electronic device. Everyone is doing something other than the fun stuff in life, and that's playing and getting to know your children. So I was thinking about that one day, and then the little boy says, "Well, you need to write a book." And then I said, no, I don't. Not writing a book, not writing a book, guy, just not writing a book, right? Then I went on vacation, and there that voice was again. This time it was a little louder. So I said, okay, okay. And so I sat down, and tips just started rolling off my head, things I used to do with my kids, and how much fun it was, and how they still talked about those things as they were adults, and how they even taught their own kids those things. So I says, okay, so I'll put it in a short book because parents don't have a lot of time to sit down and sort of read. So I've got a couple case studies in this book and a whole lot of tips on things that you can do in order to make your child feel very good about who they are and improve their self-esteem. And then
What?
that way you don't have to worry about the bullies.
What? What? Come on, come on, come on! You have to give us at least one tip.
So one tip is the one that people are always talking about is communication. You do need to communicate with your child. So I don't care what's going on, communication matters. So listen to your child when they talk, give them your full attention. Now that means you're going to have to put your phone away. There's going to be no television, no electronic devices. It's just going to be you and your child and whatever conversation your child needs to have with you at that point. Now, if you've got one of those kids that's always busy and don't have time to start a conversation, then it's your job to start that communication. In which case, I say, ask questions like, "What's your favorite thing to do when you're in the car?" Or, "If you were in the grocery store, what food would you buy and why?" And because you got to ask questions that are not one word answers. So because kids are really good for yes, no, I don't know. Okay. So you got to ask them things like that, like, "What's your favorite smell and why?" Or, "What's your least favorite smell and why?" And if you could be a pizza, which one would you be and why? So you've got to ask questions that will get them engaged and get them talking about things. And that's how you start, is just communication. No phones, no television sets, no electronic devices, just a conversation between you and your child.
That sounds so comforting. Like when you said no phone, I was like, "Ooh, that sounds good." you know, that'd be like, that would be like, "Ooh, maybe you can go camping, or maybe you can do puzzles." Like,
Yeah, you can do
family.
puzzles. You
Yeah.
can you can do things that you have a lot. We have a lot of things around us that don't cost any money or very little money. You can go to the Dollar Tree and get puzzles, the dollar store and get puzzles and do puzzles and talk about what and why you're going to do that puzzle and then get imaginative. So if you're doing a puzzle and it's a house or it's a castle, start asking questions like, who do you think lives in that castle?
Mm.
And what kind of clothes do they wear? What are they going to eat for breakfast? What time do you think they go to bed? What games are they playing? You've got to become imaginative yourself and intuitive yourself so that you can actually rev up their imagination. You can play hopscotch. You can do sidewalk art. You can go to the park and hike. You can pick up leaves. You can talk about the different colors in the leaves. You can look at the flowers. You can look at the different bees. You see, there is no end to it if you just allow your imagination to open up and flourish. But being on the telephone trying to help someone solve a problem that you didn't cause, that you don't know how it happened, is not the way to be when you're with your kids. So we like to spend our energy thinking we're helping others. But if you think about it, those phone calls of people are going over the same problems that they probably had last month, last year, and whatever advice you're giving them isn't working. So let's just cut those phones off and have some time with our children. And it doesn't have to be all afternoon. You can set aside 30 minutes, an hour. But I promise you this, once you start setting aside some time, even if it's just 30 minutes, the child is going to look forward to it and you're going to look forward to it. And then it's going to become 2 hours, half a day. Let's go to the park.
I like that. So tell everybody a little bit about your background, who you are, where you're from. Let's go back to the very, very beginning. Let's go ahead. Let's
Let's
get
go
into
all the way back from the very beginning. Okay, so
it.
oh God, so I grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Mhm.
And from the time of about 12, I decided I was going to escape Little Rock. Okay. A lot of racism, not a lot to do, small town, just didn't like it. And then I became a teenage mom at 15.
Oh wow.
Okay. So then it became okay. So we got to finish high school. We've got to finish college. So I finished college after 2.5 years. As you could tell, I was in a hurry to still leave Little Rock. I had to get out of there. But I wanted to get out of there with a degree because I wanted to teach my son that no matter what happens, you have a choice and you can choose to do better at any given point. It doesn't matter what's happening, and it doesn't matter about the choices that you made. Remember, what you decided yesterday is behind you already. So you can make a different choice today. So then I got married, moved to Florida, took my son with me, raised him in Florida. And then that's when all the other fun started. I got a divorce, had two
Mhm.
near death experiences, had a basal skull fracture. They told me I was going to die. And then when I didn't die, and that was scary though, but when I didn't die, it's like, okay, I made it through that. Then I had an aneurysm and they said I was going to die again. And then I remember telling the doctor, this near death diagnosis is getting really old. I'm not dying. That's not what's happening. I'm not dying. Okay. And I remember with the basal skull fracture, I couldn't talk. I said to myself, I says, okay, God, this is not on my list of fun things to do and people to do it with. So I don't know why we here, but I'm gonna promise you one thing. What I'm supposed to let go, I'm gonna let go. So I always now say that when I counsel people, they say, oh, I just can't let that go, or I can't let that person go. I'm here to tell you, somebody tells you you're gonna die, you let go everything that's not serving you fast. So I think everyone should have a near-death experience. So from there, kids off at college, then I worked as a manager for federal government, and then I started doing leadership training and personal empowerment coaching. So that's what I do now. So I help
That's beautiful.
people through their stuff.
That's beautiful. And then that that first book. What's the title of your first book?
First book is called Is Anybody Listening? So
Oh.
I wrote that book right when I realized I was going to be homeless. Okay. So when the homelessness happens, it just doesn't happen. Uh, and when you're aware that it's about to happen, we make a lot of financial mistakes thinking it can stop it. Okay. So I realized that this was going to happen. So I started to write my thoughts down. And I always thought no one was listening to me. Hence the title, Is Anybody Listening?
Mhm.
But what I discovered through the whole journey of homelessness is I was the one that wasn't listening. I wasn't listening to my inner voice. I wasn't trusting myself and the things that the universe was telling me I needed to do. And so it took taking me away from absolutely everything because I had the near death experiences first. One and two. And obviously, I wasn't listening. Okay. And then I had the homelessness experience. So it's about opening up and learning how to listen to that still small voice that is inside of you that's guiding you all the time. We doubt it sometimes because kind of it's kind of quiet and still. Okay. Now I've recently asked mine that needed to. I've recently told mine he needs to stand up and holler at me because I'm the hard-headed child. So it's been doing a little bit of hollering lately. So I said, "You better holler at me, okay?" So when it hollers, I says, "Okay, God, you're hollering. Okay, I got you. I'm gonna do this." So that was the first book, and that was the whole premise of the first book. So I talk about some of my experiences and what I learned from them just by listening to that power that was in me.
So if somebody right now was facing possibility of being homeless, because we know like it's not impossible because every day the interest rates are going higher. Every day, rent is going higher. And it's like hitting that ceiling, that cap, where it's like, we're almost through it, so they have to lower the prices, but not yet there. So for someone who may be going through or about to go through or is worried about their living situation, what kind of hope, well, what kind of inspiration can you give to them?
So everything happens, and I know sometimes it sounds cruel. Everything happens to us to teach us something. So you don't want to spend time being angry about the situation or angry about the person or the people. In my case, my first husband took all the money, so there was no money to pay for anything. So that forced me out. So, but you find that you waste too much time being angry about that. What you need to do is sit down and get really real about the things that you could have changed and the things that you need to change going forth. Then there's some practical things that you have to do. If you know that it looks like you're going to be homeless, then why are you paying them people all? You need to keep money. You need to conserve cash. Okay. You need to conserve cash so that you can find yourself some place to live that's inexpensive, or make a deal with a friend, and so that you can keep some food, or have food available. So you can clean up that other stuff later, as you clean it up. And then the other thing that I tell people to do is find something to be grateful for. Find something good that has happened to you and dwell on that thing, because we attract that we think about. So as when you can get to the point and you can say, okay, I just didn't know better. And I didn't know better because I was spending, even when it was looming on me, I was still trying to pay an expensive house note. I was still trying to pay the expensive car note. I was still trying to pay all the bills when I should have just been keeping that money so that I can make certain that I had food and some kind of shelter. So start looking for people you can stay with for a short period of time. Just tell people about your situation. Some people are going to tell you it's your fault. It's not literally anybody's fault. It's just that there's some things that we need to learn, and the universe is trying to tell us, and it cannot get our attention. And it's going to get your attention because it's going to get you to where it wants you to be. It never gives up on you. It's just that some of the experiences are pretty rough when you're going that way.
How long did it take for you to write each of your books, and including the new one that just launched? And tell everybody what the title of the new book is again.
Okay, so the title of the new book is Self-Esteem Your Superpower: Ways Parents Can Improve Children's Self-Esteem. So this book was one I said I wasn't going to write, but I actually did the draft of the book in about a week because God was hollering at me. Okay. Okay. And I did the draft of that. And then I think it took me about 2 months to get everything written and proofread and and put in an order that I thought would work for parents. Because I didn't want a thick book, because
Mhm.
parents just don't have time for that. They're really busy. They're working, they're taking care of kids. That's 2 jobs. Okay. And then if they have elderly parents or
Mhm.
relatives, that's a third job. So you need a little book. So it took about that. And then we did some proofreading. And then it says, okay, the book told me it was finished. And then I went to press with that. The other books took probably 90 days to write. I don't write until that boy says,
Right.
this is what you need to do, is write. And then I sit down and I literally do some stalling by doing some research. Okay. And then I say, okay, I feel like I'm ready to write now. And then I start to just write.
Okay. Where can everybody get your book?
The book is available, of course, on Amazon. And if everybody rushes out really fast this week and buy the book, if people buy books, it'll be on the bestseller list. But it is available everywhere you can find books. So it's even in an e-reader version, and it's on Apple, it's on Google, and if you like Barnes and Noble, it's on Barnes and Noble. You can even get the the paperback in Walmart also. So just about every place you can buy books.
Nice.
Mhm.
That's beautiful, guys. She's in Walmart, but get it off of Amazon, please. Tell them where on Amazon they can get it, the title that they can look up. Y'all pay attention. Please write this down.
So the name of the book is Self-Esteem Your Superpower. And there are quite a few self-esteem books out there. So you got to put in Self-Esteem Your Superpower, ways parents can improve children's self-esteem. It's got a picture, and I'll hold it up if you can see it,
Hold on,
of little
let me
superheroes on it. On the first, on the cover, they got little superheroes there. So be sure that this is the book that you're looking for, and it's on Amazon. And you can get it in a paperback as well as on Kindle, also through Amazon. And as I said, it's on Barnes and Noble, it's on Walmart, it's on every place you can get a book.
nice, nice. Can we get a little, just a tiny little excerpt of the book? Just a tiny bit, just a tiny. Just a
Okay.
little something to entice us.
So as you know, I like to play. So I have a grandson, and we love to play, and he makes up some of the most fantastic games. So I like to play. So my personal motto is, when you're out walking and you see a hopscotch, your job is to jump the hopscotch. You can't walk around it. You
Oh,
have
okay.
to play. Okay. Playtime allows you and your child to activate your imagination, and creativity creates a strong emotional bond, and it promotes physical fitness. So, participation in activities such as hide and seek, scavenger hunts, sidewalk chalk art, and walks in the park. You can play word games, board games. You can make up jokes, paint, and color together. The list is endless and filled with fun.
Mm, that sounds like fun. Do
It
you
does.
have any recommendations in there for teenagers and adults? Because
So,
a lot of our, a lot of adults, like, okay, I'm gonna use myself for an example, right? It's only now that I'm able to appreciate my parents in the way that I wish I did as a child. So, what can we do to make those relationships even more meaningful for the parents now that they know we appreciate them?
so the first part is like for the older children. Now, older children pretend they don't like to play. Okay. It's all a big farce. They love to play too. Okay. So if you've got a younger child too, get them both together and play. And the older child will have as much fun as the younger child. But if the older child is reading, you guys can read the same books, because they have some great books out there. And then when you read a book, I would always ask the question, okay, so this was the ending, but what if we rewrote that ending? Or
Mm,
what if she didn't marry so and so and she married so and so? Oh my God, what if she had 12 sisters? Okay. So you start making up things and questions about the book to rewrite the book, and then even ask questions. What do you think the author was thinking when they wrote it? So you're getting
mm,
them to think about it. You're getting them in their imagination also. And that's what you want. You want them in their imagination. And if you cook, you'll be surprised how many problems you can solve over chocolate chip cookies. Okay. I'm telling you, okay, you make a batch of chocolate chip cookies, and then each cookie can represent something that you decide or they decide, and then you eat it up.
yeah.
Okay. You would be surprised. People just don't know how important those things are. And then start to teach your kids to actually cook. Now, with parents, what I found was parents generally have some pictures and some memories that you don't even know that they have. Okay. So I used to ask my parents, let's see some of these pictures y'all hiding around here so I can make sure I approve of your pictures of me. Okay. So go through their pictures, ask them questions about their life, ask them what were, like, what was I like at 6? Okay. All right.
Mm.
Because my mother used to say things, and I would say, I was your favorite child. You know. So, so, so ask them questions like that. Like, what was I like? What was one of the funniest things that I did? When did I get in the worst trouble I could have ever gotten into? And why didn't you kill me? Just start those conversations. And what was it like when you went to high school? And make sure your father's not around. And was daddy your first love? You know what I mean?
Well, make sure mama ain't around.
That's right. Or make sure mama not around. So those are questions that you can have to start the conversations with your parents. And even you can even ask them, was there something you didn't do that you regret not doing?
Mm.
and ask for, what advice would you give me at this point in my life?
Wow, that right there is a banger.
Yeah,
I like that one because you could literally help heal some wounds in your parent or parents by asking that question.
right, right.
Yeah, that's really dope. What's this? What's the title of your second book? And I assume that in the Amazon you have a profile where all your books are at.
I should, but I may not be that good. So,
Oh,
but if you
no
put my
worries.
name up in Amazon, the
Oh,
majority
all
of
of them will pop
be
up.
there. So, is anybody listening is fairly old, and then the next one was embracing life's lessons.
Mm.
Because after you have the lesson in life, you have to embrace it. Okay. Now you don't have to embrace it, as I tell people, but if you embrace it, it makes the lesson go faster. Okay, you get, it seems like you get out of the trauma that all that trauma faster if you just embrace what it is you need to learn. Everybody is learning, and we came here to earth to learn. This is a learning planet, and we're here to learn. So just know that you're not special, okay? And God isn't playing favorites, and other people just look like they're having a really good time and not having lessons, okay? Everybody has a lesson, everybody's learning. And then the third book was Be Sure You Dance, because I thought that people don't spend enough time having fun.
Yeah.
Everyone is always working. You're not having fun. And the more fun you have, even while you're working, the better the product will be. You'll be surprised about that. When I used to work a job and manage people, I would always say, okay, so we'd have a break and we'd have some fun. Somebody got jokes. What are we going to do? We're going to laugh about something, right? And you would be amazed at how just having fun makes it easier to get through. And then the next book was Creating a Masterpiece from a Master Mess, because I wrote that in 2019, because people were beginning to ask the techniques that I use to transform my life. I think they thought they were going to be magical, but they're things like gratitude. Every day, even now, I write down 3 things every day that I'm grateful for, 3 different things every day. And even if you only wrote down 1 thing a day, at the end of the year, you will have 365 things that you were grateful for. And then I talk about forgiveness. I believe in forgiveness. You've got to let the harms and hurts that you believe people caused you go. Got to remember, everybody in the situation was there to learn a lesson. So I always say now that they were just your angels showing up so they could point out your dark side so you could fix your dark side.
Yeah, just like what I was just saying earlier about bringing light into your
Right.
darkness. That's
That's
so
right.
me,
That's right. That's right.
me. Like that's what I'm saying, y'all. It doesn't. We didn't even talk about this
That's right.
beforehand. That's
And
crazy.
you got to have you've got to visualize. You got to see yourself in it. So it's really easy and powerful for us to see ourselves in the mess and see ourselves in making the mistake, because that emotion is powerful. Okay, it's more powerful than one that you get when you're grateful. Okay, however, it's the one but all of that energy just going to create more of the same thing. So visualize what it is you want to have. See yourself doing it. Spend some time seeing yourself doing it. And if it takes you 2, 3, 4, 30 times a day to see yourself doing it, then it takes you 2, 3, 4, 30 times a day. Nobody's counting. Nobody but you. So stop counting. But see yourself doing. So when you have a project that you want to do, you see it finished. Just see it finished. See it's done like you wanted to do, and it will be there. One example I have that's a funny example is I remember I always wanted to go to an Ivy League college. Couldn't afford one. Then I was pregnant at 15. Nobody sends a 15-year-old pregnant child to a good college, right? So I turned around, and as an adult, I was able to go to University of Chicago to get an MBA, Ivy League school, top in the top 5 in the world, top 1 or 2 in the United States, right? But my vision was I would open up a diploma and look and see if my name was on it when I graduated. That was my visual. I did that 10 times a day, every day. Okay.
Wow.
Do you know what picture they got me crossing the stage getting my diploma? one of actually opening up the diploma, making sure your
Wow.
name was on it. Okay. So people,
Confirmation.
yeah,
That was confirmation that your meditations and yes.
right. So,
Wow.
and then you've got to plan to succeed. We often don't plan to succeed. So I don't keep people in my circle who make me feel bad or make my energy drain. My friends are allowed to have the same problem for 1 year. After that, we don't talk about that problem because they like it. Okay. I remember a quote Della Reese said in the Bible. It says, Jesus saves, not Della Reese saves. So Stephanie doesn't save. Okay. So we'll listen. We'll talk about some things that you can do, and you do them or you don't do them, but you don't have to report back to me on it because I don't. I'm not interested because I've got my own stuff that I need to work out. I can't.
That's
You
that tough
need to,
love.
right,
That's that tough love
right,
because you love your friend that much
right.
that you won't sit there and let them won't sit there and let them you know.
Let them pretend they don't like it. They like it, and
Yes.
when you realize that your income is going to be equal to the 5 people that you hang around with. Your mental health is going to be equal to the 5 people that you hang around with. Your everything you do, those 5 people keep you wherever you are. And if you want to have healthy mental health, you got to hang around people with healthy mental health because we got to learn how it's done. And I think that I love counseling, so I have a counselor. I think everybody need their own counselor. Sometimes you need somebody to talk to bounce some stuff off of, not
Yeah.
to give you the answer, just so you can hear what's going on in your own head. Because sometimes we can't hear ourselves. But when you're talking to someone else, you can hear what's going on in your head. And once you can hear it, answers come.
Y'all, I hope you are listening to this because this is she's dropping basically not only is she talking about her book, but she's giving us free gems about how we can be in self-improved. That's so cool. So is your passion like children? Is that your passion? Because it seems like this book is about children. And your other books were basically birthed from the pain that you had to go through. So like now that part of your life is done, it seems like everything is balanced. But now, is that like your drive now?
Well, my drive is always to do better and be better and do more and do all that I can do to help anybody who needs to have some help. Okay. Uh, but understanding that I don't do your do, you do your do. We just talk about ways to do it and try to figure out what's keeping you stuck because that's the thing. We keep ourselves stuck. What I see happening is that if we don't address what's happening to children now, you have to remember that these are the people who are going to be taking care of you in the next 20 and 30 years. But all we seem to do is offer negative suggestions. Okay. And you don't know what you don't know because you don't know what you don't know. So it's time for us to reach back and understand that we have got to help them through some of those challenges. And we've got to find a way to help them overcome. And it's got to be fun. Things kind of got to be interesting and fun. Nobody wants anything that's drudgery, you know.
Right.
So you've got to find a way to do that so that you can get the kids to have better self-esteem. And what happens in the midst of all of that is when you're teaching someone to be better, you are teaching yourself to be better. It's not just for the kids. And people say, yeah, it's for the kids. Oh, no, you'll be surprised how much more you will learn about yourself and how much fun you will be able to have in your own life. So we can sort of loosen up and enjoy what's going on and not think that whatever challenge we have came to kill us. It didn't. It came to say, hello, these are some things you need to change. Hello, these are the things you need to do differently. That's all it's here for.
Mhm. Now I'm gonna sidebar real quick, and then we're
Okay.
gonna come back.
Okay.
So, do you believe in the blue moon today?
So I do a lot of spiritual work.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Not necessarily moon work or stars work, but I do a lot of spiritual work. So I do some chakra work. I am a holistic counseling. So I do a lot of prayer work and stuff like that. So, but I love the moon and the sun. I just love it. I just who
Mhm.
doesn't like it, right? So, so whenever there's a special moon, I generally do a series of prayers and meditations for that because it's special. Come on, you
Yeah,
don't get them every night, you know. And I
yeah,
don't know how long I'm gonna be here. I may not see the next one. I don't want to miss this one.
right.
So I do that kind of work, and of course I do. But I do maybe, I do some card work, depending upon what the issue is. Sometimes I have to go in and pull out a tarot card or something just to sort of get an idea of what it is. So I kind of do a lot of things, and I do some crystals and stuff. But
Mhm.
generally, yeah, generally, uh, meditation works best for me, which is my go-to because I can the answers just channel through them. And as a matter of fact, I hike to about 40 miles a week.
Wow.
So you can imagine the trees have a whole lot to say to
Mhm.
me. Okay. So
All that good fresh air too.
oh
Ooh.
yeah, and I remember when I had a pain in my hip that wouldn't heal, right? I went to the tree and I hugged the tree. I said, "Look, you gotta help me with this pain now. You know I can't keep this up. This is not cute. You know I think I'm kind of cute, so this pain gotta go." And I did that for 3 days, and that pain went away. That tree took that pain away. So you
Yeah, just sucked it right out. Wow.
right. So if you find so for those listening, if you whatever way you find to tap into spirit is your way to tap into spirit. And there are so many ways. Just communing with nature, just breathing, just walking, grounding barefoot, hugging trees, doing full moon ceremonies. It's just, there are so many ways. This spiritual universe has made it so easy for us to contact them.
Mm.
Pick one. You don't have to do them all, just pick one. And you can literally do the meditation before you go to sleep. There's a whole violent flame meditation too that you can do for healing. There is so much stuff, but we have got to be willing to let it go. But most of us don't want to let it go because we get a lot of sympathy, we get a lot of attention, and we don't have to do the work. And we love playing woe as me, but we've got to give that up because we were sent here to be great. And woe as me is not great.
Mm, I know that's right. I want to say shout outs to everybody in the chat. We are talking to Stephanie. She is telling us like bits and pieces of her book. Her new book, okay, that she just released. Also, she has 4 other books, and I think that each and every book would be something that each and every one of us in this chat would actually like, benefit from. I know before we get off of this live, I want to do a giveaway sponsored by Be the Difference Clothing. So before we end, we'll do a giveaway. Um, and let me see, how will we get this done? Whoever is the winner, just contact Stephanie,
Mhm.
and then you can mail it out. The company will take care of the shipping and the book costs. So you just let me know what it is, and I can cash app you what the winner will get. So you guys stick around. Please invite some more people in. Um, Stephanie is amazing. I mean, y'all see that my whole entire eye is waking up when I'm just sitting here absorbing all of this good information and energy that she's giving us. Like, these are ways that we're healing just by listening to other people who are very knowledgeable in different areas of life. So please, 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 please do not take these moments for granted. So let's get back to the books.
Okay.
Tell them one more time where they can get your book that you currently just launched and any other book.
So you can get this book from Amazon, and Amazon says if I sell 50 in a week, I'll be a best-selling author. So that's been my goal. It's available on Amazon. You can get it in paperback, and it's also available in an e-reader. And a lot of people don't like to shop with Amazon, so it's everywhere a book is sold. You can get this book. either in an e-reader or a paperback. So I've made it easy for you so you can shop where you want to shop. There's a chat up here that says I probably should go back to the third grade and start over.
Oh yeah, Chris is crazy.
I know. But you know what? And I felt like that. But if you think about it, the third grade wasn't much better than it is than where you are today, too. So it all had its same problems. It had some problems too. So let's go back. Let's just start where we are now. Start where you are now, making a decision about what you want to accomplish. And take that decision when you go to bed tonight, take it in your mind to sleep. And when you wake up in the morning, think about that before you start thinking about anything else. Okay. And if you do that, you'll be surprised at what happens during the day that will lead you toward that thing that you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because the presence is always here. It's never gone. It's just that we listen to too much news. And unless you're listening to the news as a prayer request, so you can put out a healing prayer for what you hear in the news, you don't need to be listening to the news. It's the same thing. It's just a different day. Same thing, different day. And some of that is made to distract us so that we can't stay on the path that we were meant to stay on. If we're distracted,
WHOLE.
right? If we're distracted, we won't accomplish anything. But if we're not distracted, be surprised. And if you took time to do the research on some of the crime statistics, no matter what you see, you'll see that crime is down overall throughout the United States than it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So it's just that they're running out of stuff to report. So we got to see it every day.
That's crazy. And I'm glad you said that, because that just proves what I've been talking about ever since the birth of Hello World. Like, I've been saying, our world is getting better. We are the majority. Like,
Yes.
all we have to do is keep on just encouraging other people. Like, I just love that you just said that. So anybody who may not have believed that our world is getting better, you just heard the statistics. Okay.
Yeah, I think that crime has decreased about 9 to 10%.
Nice.
So crime has decreased overall, but you got to have something to tell the masses so that we're not looking at the other stuff. So if we're worried about the crime, you can't possibly be thinking about the quality of the food you eat. If you worry about the crime, you can't possibly be thinking about all of the things that they put in medicines that's supposed to make you better. If you're thinking about the crime, you can't possibly be thinking about how you can sit down and have a conversation with your child. And if you're worried about the crime, you can't possibly be thinking about the things that you were sent here to do. We were all sent here to do something very specific. And until we all start doing that, we will see these kinds of things in the world. So get still, figure out what it is you want to do, ask it, because it will tell you. It's not, and then it'll be something, and don't dismiss it, because I did. I used to say, oh no, that's too big. I can't do that. Okay. But you'll be surprised what you can do.
And last question, not just last question of out of the questions.
Okay.
What do you think about the reset?
So I tend to be fairly spiritual about everything. So nothing to think about. I don't let that bother where I'm headed.
Because it has nothing to do with you.
Because it has nothing to do with where I'm headed. I will have all of the tools necessary. Now, I got this way because when I was homeless in one of the best economies the United States had. People were thriving. I was not. So I knew right then that nothing outside of me was the cause of what I was going through. It was me, habits, and it was something I needed to do spiritually. So as I have stuck to the spiritual plan and did what I was supposed to do, and I have never been homeless again. I don't have problems about money. I don't have problems with bills. I just don't have those kinds of problems. I stick to where I need to be, and I trust that the universal power will get me where I need to be. It's kept me this far. It'll keep keeping me. Why would it
Mm-hmm.
stop?
Exactly, because you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
What ages would your new book have basically target to?
So the book is targeted for parents to sit down with their kids. So you're generally talking about probably elementary school. However, there are techniques in here that you can use with middle school children too, because they're dying for attention in the sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, like you would for your attention, like you would not believe. So you just sit down and have some of the same conversations
Mm.
and let them tell you, "Oh, I'm too old for that." You say, "Well, how old is too old? I didn't know you were 99." You gotta be so you've got to be in a playful mood yourself. So I do that with my grandson. He says, I already know that. I said, "Oh, you're 99 already."
No, I
Uh-huh.
didn't.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just 6. Oh, but you
Oh,
know everything already. That means you're 99. And we had a good time with that. You'd be surprised. Then I says, "Oh my God, that means, let me see, do we have 99 chocolate chips so we can make some chocolate chip cookies so we
oh.
can celebrate you being 99? You have got to do this with them. And then what happens is when they have a problem, you're the first person they're going to run to talk to. And you can do it with your nieces and nephews, and you keep doing it. You just keep doing it. And you ask them what went well, what didn't go well, why, what would you do different? You know, and then as they get older and stuff happens, I would ask my kid. I remember saying to my son when he was in high school, I says, "Well, I need you to go ahead and clean up and get something to eat, because we got to talk about that thing that happened today at school, right? Because I need to know what you were thinking, okay?" And I would say, "What's become clear to you? What did you learn? What has become clear to you?" That's the first thing. What did they learn? And why is important? And then ask, how will they handle that differently the next time? And then if it's something that they did that requires a punishment because that's the agreement, then or if it doesn't, you ask, "So what should be your punishment for doing that?" And you all talk about that and why. And you talk about that too. And you'll be surprised how now you've got them to thinking about things and watching what they say and what they do and how they act.
Can this work for someone who is ADD?
It can work, but that's where play really helps. When they have some of those kinds of challenges, that's where play really works. And then I have found that when you ask them, why did what happened? Well, it hurt my feelings. Okay, so what about it hurt your feelings, and is it true? Well, if it's not true, what part of it did you think is true? Because you don't let them off the hook. They reacted to something that they now telling you they didn't think is true. So you say, well, what part of it was true? Because you reacted. Because what if I told you that there was a bear coming through the window? Would you run? No. Why? Because it's not true. Okay, so, but you did this and it's not true. So what did you learn? Why did you do this? And you'll be surprised how much conversation they begin to tell you, and let them talk and let them talk, because once they start, it's just a whole lot of stuff that's about to come out, and you just got to be patient, turn your phone off. The people can find you, as my mother would say. Chances are, uh, chances are you don't need me. You either need an ambulance or the police, and I can't help you. So I need to listen to my child. So you listen to that, and you will be surprised of all of the stuff that will begin to come up then. And then you pick an easy thing to solve and talk about it and talk it through. And of course, all of this comes with hugs and kisses and "I love you." And in my house, it came with chocolate chip cookies. Because my kids like chocolate chip cookies. So
Making me want some cookies now.
yeah, it came with chocolate chip cookies, right? And so they knew whenever they saw a plate of chocolate chip cookies, so we about to dig in now.
but the reward is worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect,
Hmm.
and it's great because um, not only do you get the trauma out, but the reward of working with another person,
Hmm.
working with an adolescent, and adolescent teaching the adult teaching the adolescent,
Yes.
and then everybody being cool and having a treat.
Right.
So that's pretty dope. That's like a full circle thing for the whole family. I
Yeah,
like that.
it is.
Mhm.
And if you can, try to have dinner or some food together as a group once a week. My kids were athletes, so that was kind of difficult because at different times, but still, I made sure that I had separate time with each kid at bedtime.
Mhm.
So I spent 30 minutes with each kid separately. And they joked till this day that they thought they was raised as only children because had separate time with the girl and separate time with the boy, because sometimes there are things that they don't want to discuss even with the sibling that they're close to.
Mhm.
So we did that. And then, of course, we always ate together when we could. So generally, it was breakfast for us because everybody was there. And then, of course, for dinner, it was always something on Saturdays because their sports were always on Saturday. So we would have dinner on Sunday, and then try to get some dinner in together during the week when they didn't have practice. But you got to eat together. A lot happens when you eat together. You'd be surprised.
Mm, I love it. Um, so what we're gonna do now? Does anybody have any questions so far? Because if not, I'm seeing if Nicole, if she could drop the link in the chat to the Amazon. If you guys want to support, if you don't know, if you don't think you're gonna win, just you can if Nicole can find the link, the Amazon link, she can post your link in the chat, and then in the do you see the private chat on your side?
I can see it. Yes.
Okay, so put a number between 1 and 30, and we're going to see who can win this book. Sponsored by Be the Difference Clothing, guys. You will get a chance to win this book, and all the expenses will be paid for. And this would be a great way to support Stephanie and her book. Oh, I like that number. Um, support Stephanie and her book. Also, her goal right now is to get 50 copies sold. So tell a friend you buy a book, tell a friend to buy a book, just so we can support our sister. She has given us so much wealth of knowledge this evening, and also so much healing potential if you caught it. And we should definitely try to support her endeavors. So while we'll see who wins, you can just put as many numbers as you want into the chat until we get to the right number. I'm going to put start, and whoever gets to the number between 1 and 30 first, then you will be gifted a book. Um, so in the meantime, what strategies do you currently recommend for people to pursue their dreams?
The first thing is you've got to know what it is you want and how you think it's going to look. Now, the thinking it's going to look part can be loose, but you got to know what it is you want. So, is it a house? Is it a car? Okay, so it's a house that's not just any old house, because whatever you put in your imagination is what you're going to get. So, you got to know exactly what you want first. Then you've got to practice seeing yourself doing it or in it. So if it's to be a speaker, you've got to practice in your mind, seeing yourself doing it on stage, talking to people. You've got to rehearse that in your mind. It's got to become true to you. Now, one of the material things I manifested was a car I wanted. And my husband said I couldn't have it.
Mm.
Okay. Hey, So I told him, I didn't ask you for the car. I asked the universe for the car. What you talking about? Mind your business. Okay. So I started visual. I bought a model of the car and put it where I could see it all the time. Then I started visualizing in the car, me in the car, what the car smelled like. I even went to the car dealership to test drive the car. Okay. And every time I saw that car on the street, I would say something to the driver and say, "Hey, you're in my car. Okay, you're in my car." Lo and behold, my husband had me come home one day, stop at the house before you go to get your hair done. I says, "Okay." And then I got in the house and he says, "Oh, you know what? I didn't park the car in the right parking spot. So here are the keys. So go park the car." And I didn't pay any attention. And I went to look for the car and the car wasn't there. Right. Because I'm looking for the car I had. Right. And then so he came out and says, "That's your car." And it was my car, the car that I've been visualizing. So it worked just like that, right? So you got to have a firm picture of it. So uh, get a model of whatever it is, or have a vision board or whatever, but look at it. But you got to see yourself doing it. You've got to have more than one scene too. So if it's becoming an author, see yourself writing a book, see your books wherever you want to see, get a copy of a book and put it someplace. Uh, just make sure that's it. And talk about it as if you already have it. Okay. So, and you got to do that frequently. So I did it 3 times a day. In the morning when I woke up, before I got out of bed, and that way nothing was in my mind but that. During the day, I would take some time to meditate and think about the car. And then when I went to bed, I think about the car. I did that with that. I did that with graduate school. I do that with all high-end items, right? So that's how you start with that. Now, if there's something inside of you that seems to be contrary to that, because sometimes we'll start projects and we want something that is way bigger than our consciousness can allow us to accept at that point. Then I say, back just a little bit, okay? And maybe you want to write about it, get some pictures about it, work on seeing yourself doing it or seeing yourself in it first, and then something will click, and then you will find yourself doing it. And people say, "Oh, it doesn't work like that," but it works exactly like that. Because if you think about all the bad things that happened, you talked about it at some point, you visualized it at some point, you did all of that. When you go pay your bills, what you say is, "I hope I have enough money to pay my bills." And then what happened? Lo and behold, you don't. So when I pay my bills, I don't talk about that. I put no lack with my money. Okay. Hey, I've got enough money to pay my bills. And literally, you end up having enough. So you've got to work on what you believe to be true about yourself. And then if you find that you can't get past that block, then I say do a writing exercise. Okay. And ask yourself, why can't I accept this? And if you write that about 20 times, the answer will come to you in a way that you know what is going to be the answer. And then you know what to fix. Because sometimes we think that we think we're not good enough, but you're good enough. You were born good enough. There's nothing else you have to do to be good enough, but accept it. And then start looking for it. So if you want to test the universe, this is what I do, right? It's just me. Okay, God, if I'm not believing much today, so today I need to see 5 pink cars. I just did this. I saw 5 pink cars. How many pink cars did you I didn't think I was going to see one. I saw 5 pink cars, okay? So test it. And you will know that it's there. But when the message comes to you, you have got to act on what it tells you to do. And sometimes it's going to sound strange. It could be something as simple as make a right at that corner. Make the right at the corner, okay? Because you never know. And you never know who's going to help you, because sometimes we have dreams so big you can't just do it. Someone comes in to help you. And so you've got to recognize and allow that help. But knowing what you want that's the hardest thing. Knowing what you want and why you want it.
Hmm. I'm looking in the chat. We only have two people who are guessing numbers. Y'all can keep guessing. Keep on guessing because you're not. Some of you, well, you're kind of close, but not all the way close. But I think this is definitely worthwhile. If not, then I'll just buy the book for myself. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, that's pretty dope. Um,
So there's another story. Remember when I moved to Chicago and I was looking for a job, and I was real specific about what I wanted to do. Okay, real specific. I'm kind of particular. So I just can't see Chicago's big, and I wasn't used to traveling far. So I literally told God, "Look, God, I need a job that's gonna pay this, and I need it to be 20 minutes away from my house. I am not commuting. I didn't come from an environment where there were trains, 39,000 buses, and L's. I didn't know that much transportation from Florida. If you had a bus, you was lucky. We drove. Okay, so I says, I don't know all them people. It's too many people over there. You know, I came from a small town. I ain't doing that. I need 20 minutes. Okay. That's all I got. So I got a job interview and it was way out. Right. I drove out there, hour 15 minutes. And then I got home and then the guy offered it. I says, nope, too far. I can't come. Sorry. Too far for me to drive. I was serious. And then the second time I did another interview and the same thing. I says, I am not driving all the way out here. Okay. So I says, okay, God, I need a job, but 20 minutes is my limit. Seriously. So I went to the beach one day and I saw the job and 20 minutes. I visualized that along the beach, came home. I might live. My aunt said, you know what? This guy kept calling you while you were gone. And he said to call you back no matter what time it was because he wanted to talk to you about a job. And I says, yeah, you probably want me to drive an hour and a half. And I'm not doing that. But I called anyway. Sure enough, it was 20 minutes from my house. And I asked him what the salary was. He says, well, how much money do you need to make? I gave him the top end of my salary. And he says, okay, we can do that. But I visualized all of that and I didn't give up until I got what I wanted. And all of that happened within about a 30-day span of time. It didn't take long.
do you believe there's some things that take longer than others, or is that a myth?
No, I think that's a myth. I think it's based upon your consciousness, on what you're really ready to allow yourself to have. And I think that that's one reason why we're being fed a stream of bad news now, because everybody kind of gotten pretty good at manifesting some things. And now we're messing up the economy for people. So now our attention is someplace else. But it doesn't take longer than others. It's just a matter of how much you can believe that you deserve it and can have it.
Mm.
So some people, of course, manifest faster. That's just because they have more practice. That's all that means. When you get more practice, you will know exactly what works for you. So try a lot of different techniques because you never know which one resonates with you. And then sometimes I try techniques just because. Now, there's there's one that works for people that doesn't work for me, and that's that write the thing for 55 days, 55 times.
She said, "No, I don't got that kind of time. I got 30 days tops."
I tried it. I said somebody wants to be doing all this writing. God, you know this. I'm a 369 sister. You know this, right?
Me too. Literally, I am. Literally, right. My numbers are.
Right. I said, I'm a 369 sister. So I went back to what works for me. But it is fun to try those other things because you do learn more and more about yourself. And if nothing else, after 55 days, your vision becomes very clear.
that wasn't what it's supposed to be.
That's right. Right.
Oh, that's crazy. Wow. So I definitely enjoyed this. I always, again, it was like, just so you guys know, we had the interview like last year, probably. Like, was it 2022? Sometime early in 2022 or end of 21, actually. And I only reached out like a week or two ago. And I was like, because you were on my mind. You were on my mind. I was like, I need to go see how she's doing. Like, and you were on my mind. So I reached out just to see how you were. And I'm so glad that it was that time because look at this. Like, I didn't know you were dropping another book. And now you get to be here with us. You shared so much. I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but for me, you always bless my soul and help me like in many ways. Um, but before we end this live, oh, now I see numbers coming in.
Oh
Um,
yeah, they're doing real good with the numbers.
Yeah, somebody was close, somebody was really close. Now you guys are kind of far out, but you guys were very close a moment ago. Um, but I guess you know how they say, okay, I'm not even gonna talk about that. But hey, wellness, we have a member, and it's wellness with Frugal Mama. That's my little song I sing to all of the members. But
Oh,
yeah, so everybody that's here, we're speaking with Stephanie or Dr. Stephanie. She is launching her latest book, newest book, and we definitely need to support her. We need to stick together and support each other. So right now, if you want to participate, I'm doing a giveaway. Oh, we have a winner.
winner. Yeah.
Yes, we have a winner. This is the second time Panama. This is the second time you know what the interesting thing about Panama City is? She says she never wins anything, but she always wins something when she's on my channel. This is her second win. So I don't know about if you won anything else on anybody else's platform, but this is the second time. So Panama City is a wonderful person as well. Everybody in the chat is wonderful. She's always supported the business. She's always supported Be the Difference Clothing and me, and always trying to help. She also has a show too, so you may want to Panama City. You may, when you guys talk, you may want to have her on your channel as
Okay,
well.
cool.
Um, but I forget what I was saying before. But I will say this though, everything happens for a reason, and this is the time and the place for it. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I really appreciate you coming on my channel and blessing my soul and blessing everybody else who's here and in the replay. So wherever you may go, may you continuously be blessed in all of your endeavors. May you get that 50 sales so you can be the top bestseller on that list for Amazon. And just may the world embrace all of what you have to offer even more so, because it's definitely some power behind it. So where can Panama City contact you in order to like give her where she can give you the address and everything? Or yeah,
She can contact me, send me an email at SEWC. That's Stephanie Elaine Wilson Coleman. So SEWC at Champagne, CHAMPAGNE, like the liquor, not the city. Connection, CONNECTION.com. And connection is singular. So if you put champagneconnections.com, that's going to scare you to death. So just put see at champagneconnection.com.
yes. And I have actually too. I think I have both of your emails, so
Yes.
I will definitely do a CC, or yeah, I will do
Okay.
a CC so that I know for sure that you guys got in contact with each other. And so, you could tell me wherever the payment has to go. Like I said, I could do Cash App. I think that's the easiest, unless you have something else. I don't know,
I
but
got Cash App, Zelle. I got it all. Yeah.
okay. And you just tell me the shipping cost, and I'll make sure that gets covered. But before we leave this evening, I would like to put you on the solo panel so you can tell everybody how they can contact you, where they can follow you, um, if they want your services, where they can reach out for your services, and especially where they can find your book, and an encouraging word that will leave everybody like better than where they started. So I'm gonna let you take the platform now, okay?
Okay.
Oops, sorry, wrong person.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Wilson Coleman, the author of Self-Esteem Your Superpower: Ways Parents Can Improve Children's Self-Esteem. It's available on Amazon and wherever you buy your book. So here is how it looks, so that when you see this out there, you'll know it's the right book. I can be reached at email SEWC at Champagne, CHAMPAGNE, connection, CONNECTION.com. Again, that's SEWC at champagneconnection.com. I'm the host of a popular podcast, A Sip of Inspiration, where we discuss tips and ways people can use in order to improve their life. I'm a big believer that we already have what it takes for us to have a great life. If we share those techniques that we've used, I think that we can all be winners. So it's available on all the all of the podcast platforms. So just look at A Sip of Inspiration podcast. Also, I've got other books available on Amazon. If you go to my name, Stephanie Wilson Coleman, and that's Wilson Coleman, you'll find the other books. So, one thing that I've done in my life in order to change my life is I make a plan. I decide what it is I want to accomplish in life, write it down. And as I write that down, then I meditate and visualize it. I actually see myself doing it. So I want you all to try that. See yourself doing whatever it is. Don't worry about the obstacles. Don't worry about any of that, but see yourself doing it. See yourself saying yes to whatever it is. See yourself achieving and getting whatever it is you want to achieve and get. And as you do that, you will find that you will create so many more wonderful things in your life than even you thought possible. So, in the meantime, as I say to everybody, I want you to trust your greatness. I want you to be the person that you have always been looking for, because that person is you, and only you know how to get you where you want to go. So I'm Stephanie Wilson Coleman, known as the Empowerment Doctor. My website is champagneconnection.com. So if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me there. But email always works. So you guys have a great day. And I want you to understand, as I always say, life is far too short to drink cheap champagne. And champagne just means anything that you need to have a good life. Life is too short for you not to have it. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I enjoyed it. And I am looking forward to hearing about your successes.
I know that's right. I'm like excited. I'm sitting over here like, yes. Well, I again am so thankful that you said yes. And again, like I said, may everything that you touch continue to bless and multiply in many ways than even your imagination.
Yes.
And I thank you for being on Hello World. And thank you for brightening my day and helping me in many ways. Um, so my name is Joy from Be the Difference Clothing. This was my guest, Stephanie, Dr. Stephanie. And we are going to sign off on another episode of Hello
I love that.
World. Yes. Good night, everyone.
Good night.